everyone. Welcome to Irish Uncensored. I'm Tyler. This is my buddy Grant. How you doing, Grant?
Living the dream, buddy. Ready for some more Irish football.
Yeah, so we're doing this again. This is actually our second take.
Mm.
We started this yesterday, and about 5 minutes in, roughly,
About
my power went out for like over 2 hours. So that fucking sucked.
right. It was funny because right after we were like, "This is the fastest we'll ever have gotten 2 videos out."
Yep, we did it back-to-back days, and then we didn't. So here we are. Try number two. Power's back on for now. Cross your fucking fingers. Let's get into the Stanford game. What we think, what we expect from Stanford. Um, we really only got into the record, so let's just start right there. Let's
They're
start. What's their record and who have they played?
1-4, I believe, and their only win is over Colgate.
Yep,
And they have played Oregon, Washington,
USC and Oregon
USC, and
State.
Oregon State. So they've kind of played a pretty darn tough schedule.
Yep, they played USC when they were ranked 10th in the country, lost by 13. Washington when they were ranked 18th in the country at Washington, lost by 18. And then at Oregon when they were ranked 13th and they lost by 18 is again. And then last week they played Oregon State and lost by 1.
And it was a last-second touchdown that they
Yep.
lost on.
So they've played good competition. They haven't really been close with anybody, but that kind of scares me a little bit.
I think the record's deceiving a little bit.
Definitely, dude. I mean, when you're 1-4 and 3 of those teams are solid, like really good football teams.
Yeah.
And then one's on a last-second touchdown.
Their record's deceiving, and like how Notre Dame tends to play down to their competition, and that we always play Stanford close. Like, it's just something that happens. And
this is a recipe for something to go wrong, not necessarily for us to lose, but for us to like not beat them by as much as they expect, which we were just talking about. Now, what's the line at?
It's at minus 17.5 right now. It was 16.5 to 17 yesterday, and it's already moving. I don't like it. I really don't. That's a ton.
That's a lot of points.
That's a ton. I know it's not the same thing, but when the Ohio State bet, when I bet Notre Dame plus 17.5, that's just a shit ton. That's a ton of points to lose by, especially in college football when your team has not been like a model of consistency, which Notre Dame has not.
No, we definitely have turned it around, and I feel much better about us. But that coupled with this is kind of like you said, Stanford plays us close, and they're ready for a win. They've got to be hungry as fuck for a win. Like, you got to think Notre Dame's a good team too. They're about to play their 4th ranked team of the year. I don't think we're ranked right now. I don't even fucking know.
We might,
but we're basically borderline ranked.
Right. They've had a very tough road.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it yesterday before our shit went whack. We have like one of the toughest schedules in the country right now.
Yeah.
Or at least going forward as well. But they do. It's probably us and them, right?
I mean, they've got to be up there, especially with what they've played so far. It might not pan out that way for them.
Yeah,
I mean, Notre
so
Dame
far
has some plus things, being that USC, Syracuse both are undefeated. Ohio State's undefeated. North Carolina's lost once. Like, they have a lot of stuff like that going on. But regardless, that kind of brings it around to like us not being able to do the pod yesterday. The news came out today that Bo Bauer hurt his knee.
Yeah, I saw that.
His season is over, and in all likelihood, I believe his Notre Dame career is over. I don't believe he has any eligibility left. Very unfortunate ending for a guy that, while he wasn't like the most important, greatest player, a captain, a guy who always put forth like 110% effort, you knew he was going to be flying around trying as hard as he could every time.
Yeah, and he was consistent. He was always making plays, like in the right spot. I loved him from day one. So that's sad to see it end like this for him.
And another Notre Dame captain down. So now we're down Avery Davis, Bo Bauer as captains. and we just got to keep
room
trucking.
for people to step up. That's what I call that.
Yeah, very true. Very
Because
true.
you gotta. If no one does, then we're fucked.
Yeah, you got to have some leadership.
Somebody's got to be out there on the field with leadership, and that's how it develops. Maybe even a young guy. So I'll look at their stats there. Quarterback Tanner McKee, he has a 63% completion percentage, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's been sacked 16 times.
Yikes.
Yikes is right. So I also am pretty sure we were talking about yesterday that their O-line is pretty banged up.
Yeah, their left side of their so what I've heard is the left side of their O-line, I think, is going to be out, and then they're getting a guy back who is one of their better O linemen, but he's probably not 100%. You know, I heard that on Irish Breakdown with Brian Driscoll. They were talking about it a little bit, but um, ultimately, like I'm looking at their depth chart they released for the game, and they still have like a lot of seniors. And I know that that doesn't make you just automatically good, but what it does mean is that you have 4 years in a strength program, that you have 4 years maybe in this same offense. Like that's the kind of shit that maybe makes you a little less bad. Like,
Yeah,
I mean?
you should expect consistency. Expect somebody to be good, whether they're great or not. But I mean, when you're starting a senior, usually that's just leadership and solid play all around.
And I mean 300 across the board, right tackle getting up to 320. I mean, they're not small. You know how Stanford's offense is.
Yeah,
Just call the goal line, put 2 or 3 tight ends out there, maybe a 2 tight end, 1 wide receiver set, and you're gonna just try to pound the shit out of the ball, which makes me nervous for the over of this game because Notre Dame also likes to just pound the shit out of the ball. And you know, if we're kind of at a stalemate with that and we're not doing what we need to offensively, it could be a long day for the over betters.
yeah. So I'm just looking at their stats here. They've got five wide receivers with a touchdown. 3 of those have multiple touchdowns. They've got their 3 top receiving people are receivers with 17 receptions, 19 and 14, all at 200 or close to 200 to 300 yards. I mean, they've got receivers. It seems like they're more of a passing team. They do have one good running back, Casey Filkins. That sounds like a fake name, doesn't it?
Does like a movie name.
No, it sounds like a creative player name. Like when you go into year 2 and all these fake names pop up, Casey Filkins. I'm not hating on your name, Casey Filkins. It just sounds like that to me. 82 attempts for 339 yards with a 4 average. Their backup has a 7 average, both with 3 touchdowns. So they're pretty good all around, but I don't think they're great at anything.
No, and I mean collectively to be 1-4 with your only win over Colgate, and I mean I'm just going to call it what it is. They, in all likelihood, in these games have kind of backdoored. You know, they've probably been getting their shit kicked in. They put the second string in. They're still playing their guys, and they end up getting a little bit closer than what it really is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not really sure what to expect from them. I'm not really sure what to expect from us because this feels like one of those games where we're going to come out and we're going to try to throw it. We're going to try to like do shit that we don't necessarily normally do. Like maybe we establish the run first, maybe we don't. Maybe Tommy tries to get Braden Lindsay involved for the breakout year and we just kind of start there, against Stanford.
They are 110th in the country in points against at 32 a game. So that's not good. And they're 123rd for points for at 29 per game. We are comparatively to that pretty close. 23rd in points against. So that's good. But 167th in points for. Like we average a 2-point win. So we're looking at probably being able to score over 30, I would say somewhat easily.
Yeah, and I don't think they've played a defense of our caliber yet. We know they don't play defense in the Pac-12 just like they don't play defense in the Big Ten. So Those
Well, they
games,
don't play offense in the
you
Big
know,
Ten. They don't.
or you know what I mean.
Yeah, the opposite. Yeah,
Yes.
but the only thing that they've been giving up a lot of points, they've played some good ass offenses. I mean,
Yeah.
fucking USC and Oregon alone,
Yeah. Those are
just
solid.
those two.
Yeah.
I don't know. This feels like a game where I don't know what I'm predicting. I feel like we're gonna win easily, but
Yeah.
it's a scary game. It's kind of a like one that I could see being a close game going into the fourth with a coin flip of who's getting the ball and who's moving it, you know?
Yeah. It's one of those like where it feels like traditionally it would be a trap game, but because we've already lost to Marshall, it's not.
We trapped ourselves
We
already.
trapped
You can't
ourselves.
trap us twice.
Right. I mean, I like, I mean, a lot of what the like matchup wise, I like what we have. Like our strengths versus their weaknesses seem to fit pretty well with what we want to do. I think as long as we continue to build like what we've been doing, we'll be okay. Like if I was gonna go like, I mean, just spitball three keys: O line, D line. I mean,
Standard shit, but that it
every
is
week,
what it
O
is.
line,
Yeah.
D line. If we're established at the line of scrimmage, they're not beating us. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that they're beating us if our O line and our D line play remotely close to what they have been doing.
Yeah,
We
I mean,
we
I'll even go less than your number of keys. I think one key, because everything else has kind of been what it is all year. Our D line. If our D line can play like we've played the last 2 weeks, we're gonna stomp them
yeah.
because they've been sacked a lot, and our D line is fucking good.
Yeah.
So if we can get those sack numbers up into the five or more, 6, 7, 8, 9, and they're passing a lot because it looks like they're probably going to.
Mhm.
Maybe they'll run a little bit too, but if our D line dominates, they're not going to be able to get room to breathe, and then we're going to get decent field position, and it'll be game over.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Tariq Bracy is going to play, and if so, how much he plays coming off the hamstring. Marcus Freeman saying it's not like a super big deal, but like, why throw him out there against Stanford if you don't have to? I know that they got Ryan Barnes, a guy he hasn't really seen a ton of the field yet, but I hope I'm not missaying his name, Ryan Barnes. I'm pretty sure that's who it is. But they've got him ready and he's ready to go. And I'm hopeful that he can step in and play some meaningful snaps. I mean, Mickey and Morrison are going to play. Clarence Lewis is going to have to be a baller. Cam Hart's going to have to be a baller. They're going to be big. I expect a lot of jump balls, big receivers, big tight ends, just classic Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely going to have to come ready to be physical and hit and be ready to jump for some balls. That's for sure.
Yeah, and offensively, I expect Pine to play well. I'm really starting to believe in Pine. He has 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions now. He's been sacked 4 times. That's great. Let's put that on the O line and him. He
Yeah.
had some great avoided sacks last week specifically, maybe 3 that won us the game.
hmm Yeah.
And then we've got only Mayer has more than 1 receiving touchdown. And I thought really all season that was a negative because we need to work in our wide receivers better.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We have Michael Mayer.
You don't have to right now.
You're right. We need to as the season goes on, but Mayer is a
And that's
god.
why these next 3 games are so crucial, man, because if we can't get our receivers involved and like just show growth and progression and like make teams respect it when we play Clemson,
Yeah,
what are you going to do?
you're definitely right about that. If Clemson only has to focus on Mayer, we are in trouble.
Mayor in the run game, they're
Big
going to shove it
time.
up our butts if that's all
Yeah.
they care about.
We're gonna get shit stomped if we don't develop here in the next month. But I think we will. I really do. And
We
Pine
are.
is just getting going.
Yeah,
And
we are.
I'm really starting to believe in Pine. Like we did last year. We were saying Pine should start all last year.
Yeah, I thought that if you go back and look through old videos, I'm pretty sure that we clamor for Pine over
Yeah, that's
Cohen.
like all, half of our thumbnails are asking for Pine.
I mean, and what the hilarious part is that they just still, even then, they only had the package for Buckner. They were very convinced that Cone was the guy, just like they were convinced Buckner's the guy, and whether is or isn't remains to be seen. But I mean, right now, Pine's doing exactly what he has to do.
Pine
Honestly,
is winning games, and there's a quote actually this week about Pine was like, "I don't care about stats. I want to win the game," and he plays like it.
yeah, he does what he has to do for you to win.
Hmm.
Honestly, I mean, and I've always known this, and I know you really looked up to him a lot. He's like a very similar guy to Ian Book in the sense of like,
Yeah,
I could see him just winning a shit ton of games at Notre Dame, but maybe not winning the big games. Just, I mean, that's kind of how it would seem. But
yeah.
he
I
hasn't had
almost
that opportunity yet. So we don't know.
yeah.
So when we go into Clemson and we've got, we've won the last three and we're building, that's where he gets the opportunity to say, hey, am I going to beat? Because I mean, if he goes in there and he beats Clemson, man,
Oh yeah, man, that'd
holy
be
fuck,
fucking amazing.
we're talking about something completely different now. Like Tyler Buckner is going to hit the transfer portal, if he's winning
Yeah.
like that.
It almost feels a little disrespectful to say he does enough for us to win because Pine is doing more than that.
I agree.
He is the reason we're winning.
He's
I'm
over.
not even. He's playing fucking great. So shout out to Drew Pine.
Yeah,
Keep that shit up. And I think he's proving himself. It's like we're not at the stage where he has proven himself to be the guy, but we are in the stage of seeing it happen. And I
yeah,
think we're only a couple games away or one really good game away from us changing our minds completely. I guess not us, but Notre Dame fans or just college football fans in general. I'm really loving Pine, and I expect him to go out this year and maybe beat one of those teams, USC or Clemson, like by himself,
yeah.
kind of thing.
I think that when you're completing 70% of your passes or so, it's hard for people to pick at your game. And
Mm-hmm.
having Michael Mayer has been a complete help. And for the love of God, stay healthy, Michael Mayer, because I would hate to see what our offense looks like without him. Um,
We'd be using that freshman, I tell you that.
yeah, but I'm looking for a big game from Tyree this week. I know one of Stanford's flaws. I think they have a pretty good red zone defense ranking wise, but one of their flaws is they give up big plays. So, I mean, who on the offense is more explosive than Chris Tyree? I
Yeah,
mean,
Tyree and Estime has proven that
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Tyree just has that housing speed. Like him
He
and
does,
Lindsay have
yeah.
different calibers of speed. And if they got the ball in the right situation, I think they could go easy. And I know right now on FanDuel, Chris Tyree's anytime touchdown bet is a plus 180. That's probably my favorite line right now. They haven't dropped all the props, but like Mayer minus 200, Estime is close to minus 200. It's just a lot of guys that don't have the best odds. Like I'm looking for something.
Lindsay is like plus 130 or something.
Yes, and
And I don't think he has double digit receptions this year.
yeah. So how do they figure that shit?
That's a terrible bet. Like it could happen. He's due, but that'd be what you're betting on. He has 8 receptions and no touchdowns this year.
Yeah,
That would be the only reason you're betting is because somebody's due.
I'd rather take my chances with Chris Tyree running back kicks and Chris Tyree getting 10 to 15 touches a game.
Yes, then Lindsay, he had 1 last game. He had 1 reception.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the bets, but I don't know if there's any good bets. We might revisit that. I hope we are able to this
yeah.
weekend before the game.
When they drop the player props, it's going to be very telling. That's gonna let us know what we need to know, and if there's going to be something out there. Because like we've said before, we don't force the bets. We take what we like, which is why so far, at least for me, I've only bet 3 things Notre Dame. I'm not going to just put a play out there that I don't like. And as of right now, the Tyree anytime touchdown is probably my favorite, but I want to see what everything else looks like.
So, what are you thinking about your prediction this game, score prediction, and how confident are you? Because we don't always say how confident we are, but this week I'm not.
I'm going to say 38-17, and I would put my confidence level at 6.8 out of 10.
Okay. I'm going to say 35-28 Notre Dame. And I think it's going to be one of those where we really win by more than that, but they score one late or something.
Yeah.
And like
It's not really
we're handling the game. 2-possession game most of the game. Then it gets a little close at the end.
well, this is one of those games where like you remember like well, I know you remember, but Notre Dame always we play these teams that we should be getting guys who don't play a lot experience, freshman experience. This is one of those games where we should see a shit ton of Jalen Sneed. We should see a ton of Prince Kali. We should see a ton of all those guys that we want to see. Tobias Merriweather. Like, this is one of those games. If we don't, that's a fucking problem. That's a problem. Steve Angeli should get his first fucking snap this week. That's what should happen.
Yeah,
But,
that'd be something to look out for.
yeah. I mean, you got to think about it in terms of if you're predicting us Notre Dame to win by 17 and a half. That means the fourth quarter is backup time. So that's another thing to consider about with the props because people might be getting less time than you think they're going to get.
Normally, really just fans in general are like, oh, the backups are in, games over, turn it off kind of thing. Grant and I are like most excited because it's so rare to see us up by enough for that to happen.
Yeah,
and then two, like we want to see what it's like.
Yeah. I mean, I know from everything, like Jalen Sneed was a 5-star kid, a true freshman. Like, I want to see him and Prince Kali just sprinting around out there, just lighting people the fuck up. That's what I want to see. Like, the future really is so bright. It's just been really overshadowed by losing to Marshall this year.
Yeah, man, it really has. But I mean, we've said it 100 times now. It really does feel like a new season, and I'm really looking forward to this game. I hope we stomp them. I hope we go out there with a sense of urgency. Pine plays a great game, and we kind of like solidify ourselves into the top 25 because they won't put us in there. I don't think we deserve to be in there yet.
No.
But if we win this game handily as well, we will be. I think we're around 22 in the nation, you know?
Yeah, and it depends who else falls out too. So
well, I mean, I'm just that's gonna happen. Literally guaranteed.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
And ultimately I just think that we'll handle business this weekend. I'm confident. I'm confident that we'll do what we've done well, but I want to see us do more than that. I want to see freaking Jaden Thomas catch another bomb. I
agree with that.
I want to see Styles have 5 catches. Can we get our fucking ace 5 catches, our best receiver?
Have we had a game this year with someone with 5 catches? Not counting a running back? Not a receiver specifically.
Yeah, no receiver has had 5 catches in the game. Thomas had 3, and I think that's like the season high. Which is ridiculous when you really think about it.
That is bad, man. I feel like I remember days Golden would touch the ball 20 to 25 times a game.
It's possible because I think he did punts and kickoffs too.
Punts, kickoffs, end arounds, reverses. They'd hand it off to him sometimes on, like just from the quarterback streaking across. They'd target him at least 10 times a game.
That's what you do when you have good players.
Yeah, I guess we don't have Golden Tate. What am I saying?
We don't have good Styles is no slouch, and I think that's probably a frustrating aspect of this for him. And I will say, in the world that we live in now, as far as like the transfer portal, you have to kind of be careful about keeping motherfuckers happy.
I like that. That's the way it should be.
Right. But what I'm saying is your team, there's no guarantee that Lorenzo Styles is here next year. I haven't heard anything, and I'm not saying anything like that.
This is an example. Basically, any player applies to this rule.
Any player. If they're not happy, they can leave. They don't have to stay and put up with that shit. They can just bounce to wherever the hell they want to go. Now, when people do that, does that usually turn into a Joe Burrow situation? No, it doesn't. But people can bounce, and that's the point. Like, you have to be concerned about keeping certain people happy. You have to be, showing that growth. But your hope is that by continuing to win and having team chemistry and bonding and building, that you are proving to them that we're going to grow from this and it's not going to be just a shit show forever.
If you're a good coach, you work in plays enough to where that's never a problem.
I think that Marcus Freeman is so charismatic and such a good recruiter that I don't think Notre Dame will ever have that problem as long as he's there. I'm just saying, like, if this is how this year went with Brian Kelly, I think people would be transferring.
Yeah, and all it takes is one. We've already had one person transfer.
Middle of the year, coming off of a
Yeah.
2-sack game 2 games before.
Yeah,
I mean,
it could, and it doesn't have to be Freeman. I guess I wasn't specifically saying Freeman. Any coach,
yeah,
just unhappy with your play time, unhappy with your position. Like maybe you want to be outside, maybe you want to be covering people on defense more instead of a linebacker position, like or up on the line and they're have you off the line. So anything,
yeah,
like it could be the smallest thing, and you're like, I'm not playing here anymore.
yep. I don't think we'll have to worry about it, but it is something to keep in the back of your mind that we need to continue to feed the guys that we know we need.
Yeah, and if you want to leave, come on to Notre Dame. Like if
Yeah,
you're really good, Ben Sharonic, you got an extra year of eligibility.
yeah, come on over.
We could use Ben Sharonic right now.
Dude, honestly, like that hurts my soul to say that. Like, I'm not even a Ben Swaronic hater, but I'm just saying.
You never loved him. And I'm not saying that in a mean way, but I know you weren't like the biggest fan of him, but man, he was consistent as fuck.
Oh, he was.
And he is in the NFL too.
Yep. I'm just, it's always hard to get transfers in. It feels like if they didn't come from Northwestern or Harvard, that we're kind of fucked on getting transfers.
Yeah, you got to have like a 4.8 GPA to be considered.
Seriously.
Yeah, dumb. All right. Well, that's it for today. Before we go, I do have an announcement. I guess next weekend, the weekend of the 21st. So not this weekend, but next weekend. I'm involved in Comics Curing Cancer, which is a C3 event put on by a bunch of community members in the comic book community. And we're going to be doing shows, auctions, a bunch of different things on a bunch of different channels. I'm going to have all the channels linked down below. Well, maybe not all the channels, as many as I can, because it's going to be across the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And if you want to donate to anything, or if you see anything that even just clicking on it and subscribing and showing up, that helps, liking videos. But it's going to be a great event, and all the money goes to the American Cancer Foundation, I believe, Society.
Like
yeah, and I'm trying to remember everything.
right.
But yeah, it's going to be a great time. We've done this before, and I hopefully we can even get a couple extra people from seeing this video to click on some of those links below and just subscribe and like videos and help put the word out. Because I think last year we raised over $7,000 for the society, and this year we'd love to like beat it, double it, triple it. Who knows what we'll do, but there is some crazy shit. We have some incredible artists, some incredible items being put up for sale. It's going to be a great time. But thanks everyone for watching, and go Irish.
Go Irish.